Members of the Nepal Association of Foreign Employment Agencies staged a protest at the Department of Foreign Employment yesterday, demanding the government to lift the ban on sending Nepalese workers to Malaysia. More than 150,000 youths have been deprived of going to Malaysia for employment since 14 months due to problems regarding visa processing. Good morning, I'm Amit Bakarel, and let's begin with the top stories this hour. Construction companies of more than 900 projects with 20 billion rupees of government expenses breach deadlines. Government neither extends the deadline nor scraps the contracts. Meeting of House of Representatives irregular since 3 weeks. Committee under Speaker Mahara fails to hold meetings on a regular basis. India's parliament approves a bill that makes the Muslim practice of instant divorce a criminal offence. And Real Madrid pre-season hopes continues after being defeated by Tottenham 1-0 in the Audi Cup semi-final last night. In the previous fiscal year, the central government spent 80 billion rupees for construction of roads. The amount was used for blacktopping, installing gravel, and constructing tracks and bridges. However, more than 900 of the projects that have spent 20 billion rupees already have breached deadlines several times. In addition to that, the government has neither extended the stalled projects deadline nor scrapped contracts with the companies that failed to complete the projects on time.
The central, provincial and local levels have so far constructed 80,000 kilometers road, including blacktopping and gravelling works. In the previous fiscal year, the central government alone spent 79.92 billion rupees, which is 74% of the total budget allocated for construction of roads. Last year, 915 kilometers of under-construction road section were blacktopped, while 1,050 kilometers of length was gravelled. The Department of Roads has opened road track of 315 kilometers of the total 1,050 kilometers road constructed. With this, the length of national highways has reached 15,000 kilometers. The department has also completed the construction of 243 bridges. However, there are many projects that have either not started or resumed as a result of dispute between the centre and the provinces over the project's responsibility. Likewise, construction of 700 small roads under the centre's jurisdiction is yet to begin due to the centre's delay in assigning the projects to contractor companies.
धेरै चाहिँ साना सडकहरु झन्डै 700 वटा जति सडक चाहिँ साना सडक 1 करोड विनियोजन भएका सडकहरु थिए तराईमा पहाडमा दुवैतिर गरेर हैन त्यहाँ चाहिँ काम पुस मागमा 1 करोड काम सुरु भयो अलिकति पैसा बच्यो होला त्यसमा थप पैसा मागेर थप टेन्डर गरेर काम गर्छु भनेर थप पैसा माग्यो त्यो पैसा एलोकेसन गर्ने चाहिँ समय चाहिँ ढिलो वैशाख जेठतिर चाहिँ त्यो पैसा हामीले प्राप्त गर्यौं ढिलो प्राप्त भयो र त्यसलाई चाहिँ टेन्डर प्रोसेसमा गएर काम गर्ने समय चाहिँ रहेन.
Due to the Transportation Ministry's inability to take a concrete decision, 900 of the stalled road projects on which the centre has already spent 20 billion rupees have not resumed either. Of all the 3 tiers of the government, the centre has invested the most amount of budget in road infrastructure. However, around a dozen roads within the capital and half a dozen bridges have failed to complete despite several deadline extensions. This calls for the department and the ministry to reach a decision on the stalled projects at the earliest.
Now let's move on to the national political updates. It has been 3 weeks since opposition lawmakers obstructed the parliament demanding investigation on the deaths of Sarosh Narayan Singh and cadre of the Netra Bikram Chand-led Biplab outfit Kumar Podel in Sarlahi. The opposition lawmakers have maintained that the killings were illicit and there is a need to investigate on the cases. The opposition lawmakers had escalated their obstruction after the ruling party stated that investigations were not necessary, as the Home Minister had already spoken on the issue. As a result of the obstruction, the House of Representatives has not been able to discuss on issues of public importance. The inability of the Speaker and the All-Party Executive Consultation Committee under him to find a solution for the problem has rendered the institution useless. Citing that there should be parliamentary investigation in the 2 incidents in Sarlai, the main opposition Nepali Congress and Rashtriya Janata Party Nepal have been obstructing the parliament since 9th of July. Meanwhile, Home Minister Ram Bahadur Thapa had already spoken on the issue earlier on 24th of June, citing that the killings of Sarosh Narayan Singh and Kumar Podel in Sarlahi were not illicit. However, the opposition lawmakers were not satisfied with the Home Minister's response and have demanded for a fair investigation. The ruling party, however, is not interested in creating an investigating committee and has stated that the Home Minister has already spoken on the issue. Meanwhile, the dispute between the ruling and opposition parties has directly affected the parliament as it has been obstructed for the past 3 weeks. The role of the all-party executive consultation committee, whose coordinator is the House Speaker himself, is vital in ending such dispute. However, Speaker Krishna Bahadur Mahara and the committee do not look serious enough in finding a solution to end the dispute. Due to the continued obstruction at the Parliament, discussions on issues of public interest have been affected. The integration process of the ruling Nepal Communist Party has delved into uncertainty with the dispute regarding the assignment of responsibility for the schooling department. The party secretariat has decided to consult with all the aspiring central members to make another recommendation for the leadership of the departments. This has pushed the party's integration back to where it was. The ruling Nepal Communist Party has struggled for 14 months since unification to conclude on the party's integration at all levels. Following a series of disputes and disagreements, the ruling party seemed to reach towards finally concluding the integration. However, the former CPN Maoist faction, claiming their stake on school department, has overturned the agreement struck during the unification between the former UML and CPN Maoist. Nepal Communist Party chairman duo KP Sharma Oli and Pushpa Kamal Dahal had a series of discussions to decide on the department's leadership, however failed to reach a consensus. The party secretariat meeting held hence decided to force a new proposal by consulting with all the aspirants while leading the total number of 32 departments of the party. This has hinted at further delay in the party's integration process, as it is highly likely for more aspirants to stake their claims. The need for the ruling party was to implement the party's and the government's plans and activities. However, the dispute related to the departments has impeded in its plans. Analysts have stated that the current scenario is a result of the leadership focusing more on strengthening their own intra-party faction instead of the party's priorities. Furthermore, analysts opine that this does not just affect the party and the government's performance, but will also raise serious questions on the ability of the party's leadership to make decisions. Members of the Nepal Association of Foreign Employment Agencies staged a protest at the Department of Foreign Employment yesterday, demanding the government to lift the ban on sending Nepalese workers to Malaysia. The government had imposed a prohibition on sending Nepalese workers to the Southeast Asian country 14 months ago. Entrepreneurs have stated that they are almost compelled to shut the agencies as the business has dropped by up to 70%.
यही हो समस्या यो कारणले चाहिँ मलेसियाको रोजगारी चाहिँ बन्द भएको भन्ने कुरा स्पष्ट आउनु पर्यो होइन भने जहिले पनि चाहिँ व्यवसाय डेलिगेसन जाँदाखेरि चाहिँ अब एक दुई दिनमा हामी गर्छौं प्रयास भइरहेछ भन्दै अहिले चाहिँ श्रम सम्झौता भएको 9 महिना समय बित्दा समेत आलटाल गरेर चाहिँ रोकिएको अवस्था छ र यहाँ चाहिँ मलेसिया रोजगारीमा कामदार पठाउने व्यवसाय साथीहरु करिब 5-600 व्यवसाय साथीहरु मलेसिया रोजगारीमा मात्रै कामदार पठाइरहेको अवस्थाहरु छन्.
The government imposed a ban on sending Nepalese workers to Malaysia after the Ministry of Labour, Employment and Social Security filed a case against the manpower agencies that had been swindling foreign employment applicants during health tests and visa processing. The governments of Nepal and Malaysia have signed a contract 9 months ago that provisioned the free visa processing for aspirants. However, the agreement is yet to be implemented. The government of Malaysia has been adamant on using the same agencies as the swindling applicants for visa processing. Meanwhile, the Labour Ministry has been denying Malaysia's request. Due to the prohibition, Nepal has lost more than 150,000 potential job opportunities in Malaysia. The road section in Siddhicharan highway between Udaipur districts, Katari and Kurmi has been shut since more than 2 weeks now as a result of the landslide triggered by incessant rainfall. In this contest, we had asked the locals in Okhaldhunga what problems have they been facing due to the obstruction. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public voice.
Kurmi र चाहिँ कटारीको बीचको त्यो ठाँटी
ठाटी भन्ज्याङ नबनुन्जेलसम्म यहाँको चाहिँ दैनिक उपभोग्य सामग्रीदेखि लिएर जम्मै कुराको चाहिँ मूल्य वृद्धिको शिकारमा यहाँको लगभग सबै चाहिँ आम उपभोक्ता पर्ने चाहिँ लगभग चाहिँ छ।
केजीमा अलिकति धेरै बढेकै छ। हामीले दाना सचरी ल्याउँदाखेरि पनि अब 28-29 बोराको दाना अहिले 3250 33 पुगिसकेको छ।
जनतादेखि नेता गणसम्म सरकारसम्मले सोच्नुपर्ने कुरा बाटोलाई स्थायित्व कसरी गर्ने भन्ने कुरालाई सोच्नुपर्छ।
वर्षेनी यो ठाटीमा चाहिँ यो पहिरो गइरहेको हुन्छ, त्यसले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अहिले अस्थायी समस्या मात्रै नभएर यसले चाहिँ दीर्घकालीन असर गर्छ। यसको विकल्पको खोजी गर्नुपर्ने देखिन्छ।
ठाटीको पहिरो चाहिँ भन्नुहुन्छ भनेदेखि तपाईँको आजसम्म चाहिँ यसको दीर्घकालीन समस्याको समाधान गर्नु खोजिएन। जहिले पनि यो असारे विकासको नाममा चाहिँ क्षणिक यो आँखा छोप्ने काम मात्रै भयो।
तिनवटा जिल्लाको बाटो हो नि त, हाम्रो नाकै त्यही हो हाम्रो खास त। अब त के अरे एउटा खुर्कुट घुमा जस्तै अब बर्देस घुमा ल्याउँदा धेरै महँगो पर्छ। त्यसैले गर्दाखेरि जसरी भए पनि हामीलाई त्यो बाटो चाहिँ वैकल्पिक उपाय निकालेर भए पनि हामीलाई त्यो बाटो चाहिँ हामीले समस्याको समाधान गरिदिनु पर्यो सरकारले।
It's now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
And the question is, what's your take on the decision seen within the country's main political parties? And options are A. Leaders lacking decision-making skills, the result of too many internal factions, and C. Wasting time. The voting is on. Type NAWS, select your option A, B, or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Now the sports update.
Sports news.
Real Madrid's pre-season woes continued last night as Tottenham defeated Zinedine Zidane's men 1-0 in the Audi Cup semi-final at the Allianz Arena, thanks to Harry Kane's solitary strike. Spurs were the sharper team throughout, demonstrating higher fitness levels and more cohesive pressing from the start before edging ahead on the score sheet. Their breakthrough came, however, courtesy of a calamitous defensive error from Real, with Kane squeezing the ball past Keylor Navas after Marcelo played the striker through on goal in an attempt to keep Eden Hazard's misplaced pass in play. Tottenham will now face either host Bayern Munich or Fenerbahce in Wednesday evening's final, and with Madrid are also in action in the afternoon's third-fourth place match at the Allianz Arena. Juan Mata scored a last-ditch penalty as Manchester United edged out Kristiansand in the second-last pre-season friendly in Oslo last night. United dominated the game, but it took until the 92nd minute for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer meant to break the deadlock. Solskjaer's son Noah also made his debut to Kristiansand in what was a wonderful moment as cheers rung out. Kristiansand hold the best defensive record in the Eliteserien, and it was clear to see why in the opening exchanges. S.A. Lingard came closest to breaking the deadlock early on, curling a shot from the edge of the box inches wide of the far post. Phil Jones also had an opportunity, but it was comfortable for Sean McDermott. The Board of Control for Cricket in India, BCCI, has suspended Test opener Prithvi Shaw for taking a banned substance, turbulatine, under the World Anti-Doping Agency WADA code. The suspension is backdated from the day of the collection of the urine sample, 22nd of February this year, and will expire on 15th of November. The BCCI is, however, satisfied with Mr. Shaw's explanation that he had taken terbutaline inadvertently to treat a respiratory tract infection and not as a performance-enhancing drug. Having considered all of the evidence and taken expert external advice, the BCCI has accepted Shaw's explanation of the cause of his EDRV and on the basis has agreed that a period of ineligibility of 8 months should apply, together with disqualification of certain results. The home and away matches between Nepal and Kuwait for the second Asia qualifying round for the FIFA World Cup 2022 in Qatar will be played in Kuwait. As Nepal's only international stadium, the Dasar Stadium is still under the process of being renovated. The match between Nepal and Kuwait on 5th of September has been shifted as an away match which will now be played in Kuwait. Nepal was scheduled to play the match at its home ground. However, All Nepal Football Association decided to make it an away match as there was no alternative to playing the match at the Darshan Stadium, which is the only stadium in Nepal that meets the criteria set by AFC and FIFA. According to INFA, the remaining matches will be played at the scheduled time and venues. Meanwhile, INFA has taken action against national football team's athletics trainer Vivek Vikrant Adhikari by sacking him. Likewise, INFA also decided to issue a warning to national football team's goalkeeper Kiran Chemjong. Adhikari and Chemjong were involved in a dispute during preparation for the preliminary round of the World Cup qualifiers. It's now time for the special segment, Laugh Out Loud.
The government is all set to bring land management bill in a bid to manage the issues of landless squatters. The decision undoubtedly is a big relief to landless community. However, the decision itself smacks of the state's dual approach towards its citizens. At a time when there is growing grievances on behalf of people from Kathmandu Valley, where the government has been alleged of displacing many natives in the name of road expansion. The people in Kathmandu are saying that after their houses were demolished, their land certificates have become useless as they have not even been provided rightful compensation. The scenario paves way to transform landless into landlords and landlords into landless. Nepal crashed out of the ICC World Cup Asia region qualifiers after their crushing defeat at the hands of Singapore. In the last must-win group match against Singapore, Nepal put up a dismal show to lose the match by a huge margin. Nepal was billed as the strongest team in the Asia region qualifiers, but could not support their claim with their performance. There was more drama in store for Team Nepal at the conclusion of the last match. Nepal were handed the medal for the runners-up position following their defeat. However, Qatar protested, staking their claim for the second position by virtue of better run rate. Eventually, the medals were taken from Team Nepal and handed over to the Qatari players. Nepal's performance was shocking, and so was the slack management, which did not bother to calculate team's run rate following Nepal's big margin of defeat in the last group match. This is Prarambha Dahal for Kantipur News Desk.
And that's all for this hour. Keep watching Kantipur Television SD for more news and entertainment. Have a good day.